Well, I was the child of a Foreign Service officer, and so we moved around a lot when I was young. My early memories are of living in England, where we moved when I was 4, and we left there to come to the States when I was 9. When I was 12, we moved to Naples and subsequently to Rome. And that basically was the formative period of my childhood. I went to high school in Rome. I came back to the United States to go to college. And while I was in college, I took Italian just to keep my Italian going. And after my freshman year, the teacher, my Italian teacher, asked if any of those of us, and there were only 2, in that class would be interested in volunteering to work at the Spoleto Festival in Spoleto, Italy, in the Festival of Two Worlds in Spoleto, Italy. And I thought this would be terrific. So I started working at the festival in Italy in 1969. I was there for 5 years, and by the time I was 20, which was after my 3rd summer in Spoleto, I decided I wanted to be the American manager of the Festival of Two Worlds in Spoleto. It was almost 19 years after the festival had been started in Spoleto, Italy. A festival began here. And again, I heard about it and knew that this was something that I would love to get involved with. I left Spoleto and became the general manager of an opera festival in Santa Fe. And I missed the variety. I mean, I love opera, but I also love dance. I also love theater. I also love the opportunity to do things that are based in a particular place with such a history as Charleston. When artists comment on society, they comment on their own lives, they comment on the lives of others. And when we can hear those comments and when we can absorb those comments, I think that we appreciate life just a little bit more. I mean, they're thinking about their own humanity, and by extension, they allow us to think about our own humanity. And sometimes what they say offends some people, and it will. I became involved with the Anson Burial, which is now called the Anson African Burial Memorial, when I realized that I had walked past the place where 36 people of African extraction had been buried after their bodies had been found during the renovation of the Gilliard. Their bodies were reinterred halfway between the Spoleto office and the entrance to the Gilliard, and I'd walked past it pretty often and had not noticed the plaque on the ground. And the plaque says, "This is going to be temporary." So I talked to the mayor, and he convened a group of, I think, 20 to 24 people to discuss what should be put there. And Stephen Hayes came up with the idea of having hands that extend beyond a fountain represent each of the 36 people who were buried. And so 36 pairs of hands were to be cast from people whose age, gender, and ethnicity matched that of the bodies that were discovered. I think when the arts are most important is when we sort of assess ourselves, which doesn't mean that there aren't other wildly important parts of our lives. But I do believe that the arts have this singular possibility of making us see ourselves differently and making us think.